that song, isn't it, Amy?
Yes.
That was Bruce Carroll, who is one of our top 10 interviews of this last year, 2022. So this is a special edition. My wife and I do a show, as many of you know, a broadcast called Faith, Family, and Friends. We're doing it for, I think, 3 years.
At least.
When COVID hit, there are a lot of good things that come out of COVID, not a whole lot. There were some good things that came out.
Yeah.
And one of them was learning how to reconnect with people that we had interviewed back in Maine on the radio station, because we didn't have a radio gig here in Michigan. I wasn't going to drive all the way to Detroit to get a part-time DJ job there, playing music that I maybe didn't like or was forced to play. So we don't have the music, but we've had the interviews, and we've had more interviews, I think, than we did back home, probably twice as many, because we only did it once a week. Now we're up to maybe 2 a week.
Sometimes 3.
Yep, this week has been kind of an off week. So in lieu of not having an interview this week, today, I thought, it'd be neat to go through and let folks know who we've had on the show, and then our top 10. This top 10 is not exclusive. It doesn't mean that you weren't considered. There's some honorable mentions. There are reasons why I think we chose these. Most of them, they were the same. Some weren't. My wife had her list. I had mine. There's only one that was different between the two of us. So anyway, our motto, if you can see the camera, is, there's a sign, Faith, Family, and Friends, a place where everyone's story matters. We need to put up there a place where everyone has a story, because every story matters, or something like that. I forget how we put that. But anyway,
it was very hard.
It was hard.
Top 10. It wasn't like, oh yeah, because we enjoyed every single interview.
How many did you count?
I didn't.
I thought you said you counted them. Why don't you count them? Then?
Sure.
So some of the categories that I came up with, just and ways that these people affected us and what we felt from the interview, were categories like most personable, deepest connection, most impactful, most original, most emotional, and rawest. I can say this, I would say rawest, R-A-W, most raw. You don't need the ist on it, do I?
No.
Most raw interview, emotionally raw. All those kind of categories what came up in my mind. I think my wife more or less agreed with them. She may have something that. So here they go, but we're gonna name them. Maybe, how many did you say? 41? How about
that
you?
includes like 1, 2, like when there's 2, that's 1, 2, 3, I
Yeah.
counted each of these
Oh, I
separate, even
see.
though they're both
They
in the
were,
same
that's right.
interview,
They
because-
were. Yeah, so why don't you just, we won't say the top 10 yet, but just
No.
go through maybe 20, and I'll do the other 20 or something.
Okay, we had Dana Coverstone.
Mhm.
Do we want to tell who they were?
Yeah, just tell the designation.
So he's a pastor and a prophet.
Yeah, he wouldn't
Same.
call himself that, but yeah, he's
Yeah.
had prophetic dreams, and
Mhm.
many people follow him. He dreamed about COVID.
He's from down in
So, Kentucky.
Kentucky.
Yeah, Assembly God pastor, good friend. We've had him on 3 times. We'll talk more about him.
Mhm. Eddie DeGarmo
From,
Van DeGarmo and
yeah,
Keys.
CCM artist.
Yeah, that was a fun interview.
It was,
He's
yeah.
so down to earth and fun.
First thing he said,
Very funny.
how you doing, Ralph? Where
Yeah,
you calling me from?
really friendly
Very
and
personable.
fun.
Yes.
Yes. Richie Furry.
Yes, producer and frontman, co-founder of Buffalo Springfield. And then he went to Poco, and then he got saved.
Mhm.
Yep.
That was fun.
Mhm.
Mark and Rhonda Blessing.
We met them through connecting with them through Fox News, who had an interview one morning about their work in the Ukraine.
Ukraine. So they're a really cool couple.
Very cool. We try to stay up with them.
Yeah.
And my
They're
wife's
still-
gonna try to hopefully Zoom them with her class at
Yeah.
school.
They're still right at work helping
Oh, yeah,
people, like
yeah.
really busy helping people over there.
Mhm,
Chris Zalewski.
mhm. Chris is a documentarian and a film producer. He teaches near Asheville, North Carolina, and his film Theirs is a Kingdom, which is about we call that kind of artwork back in the day. I'm drawing a blank. Fresco.
Yeah.
You think fresco artwork is not done anymore, but there are a few people that do it. And this community, this church,
That did a mural,
Mural
right?
of-
Mural.
and he recorded the church doing that, the artists doing it. So even though it's Chris's documentary, we'd love to someday meet the artist, so we get the name.
Mhm.
But yeah, he filmed him, and what a powerful interview and movie it was. I was brought to tears when I watched the film. Sometimes we'll watch the film, if it's a film, just before the interview. We try to read the book, if it's an author,
Mhm.
before we interview the author. But I was just in tears when I watched the movie that he made. It was great.
And many of the people in
Yep.
the actual art piece were the homeless in the area.
We're the homeless in the area. It's an incredible story. And there's vignettes of each one that he does. So
That was
Yeah.
really cool. Tracy Robinson.
she was on the other side of the fence in terms of pro-life issue. And she found the Lord, became pro-life, and one of her first independent works that she did is a
Oh.
documentary on the pro-life movement. I forget the name of the movie. It debuted this last year, and I'm so sorry that I didn't remember that. Hopefully, maybe one of us can look it up because later.
I will.
Yep,
Okay,
Oh.
Johnny and Rebecca.
yep. Johnny and Rebecca Cox. We'll tell you more about that one in a minute, but they're a father and daughter. They're from down East Maine, and we've had Rebecca on 3 times.
Mhm.
But this is an especially meaningful interview because of something that happened to Johnny, something good. We'll tell you about that in a moment. Ross Landers and Rick Chambers,
Yep.
2 winners of the Vicksburg Tournament of Writers this past year.
Mhm.
And it was a big thing for me to do somebody from that because I did not win this year. I won last year. I was kind of bummed but I was so glad that these 2 won, and they had excellent pieces. Rick Chambers actually has done some
Work
writing for Star Trek online
online.
movie or show, and he's in some of the what do you call it, the script for the
That's just so cool.
narrative line. He's a really cool guy. And Ross Landers did a story that was really good too.
Yeah, they
Fiction.
were really nice guys.
Yeah, very well spoken, and enjoyed being on talking about their surprise at winning that tournament of writers in Vicksburg, right nearby. Mark Harris.
Mark Harris.
Tell about Mark. That was a great one.
Mark Harris is a former member. Well, they're all former because they're not touring anymore. but
Right.
For him, the group for him.
Right.
And he did solo work too.
Yeah. So he's still singing. When we interviewed Mark, he was actually on his way to a reunion with the group that he was in before for him. And again, I forget.
In Texas,
It's the
maybe?
Truth or something, the name of the band. It was one of the
Mhm.
earlier Christian
When he
music.
was in college. maybe?
Yeah.
So really great guy.
And he was a Lee
So
College
down to
graduate,
earth.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, which is Church of God. Mhm.
Yeah. Really great, down to earth guy.
And we
So
got to talk to one of the band members, Marty McGee,
Who's our friend?
who's our friend. And we tried to get Marty to watch that with Mark, and it just didn't work out. Marty's in Colorado. He's a worship leader there. So
Busy.
Yep.
Busy. Mickey Furman.
Mickey Furman from back in the day, more CCM music and artist. One of the most amazing songs I've ever heard in all CCM music about the coming of Christ. And I think I had a chance to thank her for that.
Mhm.
We get into what she's doing now. She's not a country Western artist, a Western artist, which is very different. It takes a lot of the cowboy songs from back in the day, because the cowboys that were out West wrote a lot of their own poetry
Mhm.
and music by the campfire. Very different than country and Western, somewhat different, I should say, not very different. And Mickey's gone along with that kind of music genre now, but she put a couple of early albums out. Here He Comes was the name of that song, but there were some other good songs too. Look Again was another one of her albums. We had a great time catching up with her back in the 80s. Was
Seeing
that?
what she's doing now.
Yeah, and the next 2 you could talk about that.
Yeah, Billy Smiley and John Schlitz. That was
Yeah.
fun. They were like pumped. It was a
Oh.
pumped. Like John
Funny,
was like
too.
really
Yeah.
funny and like
Yeah, and
uh,
bouncing off each other.
yeah.
I should have said funniest.
So tell where they're
on
from.
that one. Well, they're from a new group. Oh, getting the name of the group. So many artists and musicians and
Mhm.
movie people here that,
Old man, old.
no, they have a breakfast they go to. Old Men, something like
Yeah.
that in Nashville with all these CCM artists. Some of, probably a good quarter of them we've had on our show. Maybe you
look
can
it
look
up.
that up.
Okay.
But anyway, as she looks it up, so you can know what that band is. They do tour still. But Billy Smiley was the songwriter and I think guitarist for Whiteheart. Whiteheart was a Christian music group that we used to listen to. Many of you know back in the day. John Schlitt was a member of Petra for a number of years. He was the lead singer. And he's a cool guy. They just joke around with each other.
So fun.
So
Like
fun.
it was a really fun interview.
Yeah, another CCM artist who's more contemporary now, has done some work in the past, but Jason Fowler, his music reminds me of somebody from down under, a DC Talk person or whatever, but we've actually played some of Jason's songs here at church. He is a great guy. What a testimony of having been delivered from drugs and alcohol. All these interviews you can find on YouTube. So if I'm going kind of fast and I wish you'd said more about this, I'm not going to remember. We will put these out online so you can read them. I don't think I'll put them on tonight. All 41. I'm a little tired, as you can see. I've already started yawning, but Jason was a great guy. It was a little long of an interview, but we just want him telling the story. Talk about how he got reunited with his dad. His dad came to the Lord and stopped drinking. It was just a really good interview.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, Jason.
Yeah, really good.
Great
It
stuff.
made me. Just
I know
a
he had
great
some
interview.
connections with. Oh yeah, he did have connections with this band that you're trying to look up.
He
Billy Smiley,
sang
John
with
Schlitt,
them, right?
sang with them. That's how we.
Yeah.
Sometimes this works out. We'll let you know how. You might be wondering, how do you get all these people? It's God for one thing, and then we'll talk to you about the connections. Edward Grinnan, who is not just a Grinnan, but he was on the show. We interviewed Ed back in Maine on the radio. Ed is the editor-in-chief of Guidepost magazine, and he recently lost his wife. Julie, it was very difficult for him. It was kind of sudden. And I said, boy, you sure you want to do it? Because he went to Europe, but we scheduled a few months ago. He said, let me get over there, get back. I had said, if you want to talk about losing your wife, no pressure, please, but feel free to. Yeah, and that was a great interview. I'm not going to say a whole lot more. You got to look that one up. Pam Stenzel, who's amazing teacher. She's pro-life advocate. She is a director of a number of pro-life agencies and clinics down in Florida, and she's a sought-after speaker at a number of high schools and colleges where she talks about sexually transmitted diseases and abstinence. She has gotten hit hard by the liberal press, believe me, but she is right on the money. She's funny. She doesn't take life too seriously, but she does not compromise. It was hard not to give everyone an award here for our show. My wife could talk about Renee Haley. Renee, and then look back to see if you can find that.
Yeah, I'm still trying to find it. What is him now? Sorry, but
Union of Sinners and Saints.
there you go.
That's it.
We didn't have to look it up.
Sorry.
Okay, so Renee, son was killed when he was little. Shot actually accidentally by a police officer. And what they went through in the process of course, losing their son and all the what ifs and what we should have done differently, and the whole process of someone coming to terms and admitting they were wrong and everything. But her whole purpose of being on our show is she wanted to bless others who she's written this book who may have gone through similar things. The child died.
What was the name of the book again? One word. Touched or something that started with an R. I can't think.
Really good book. I read the whole thing. Excellent.
So good that we forgot the name of it.
Yeah, well, it's been a while, but yeah, really great. And I can look that up too.
Yeah, why don't you? Cook Brothers. Oh, that was powerful. Our friend Kyler Cook and his twin brother Caleb, who I think lives in Pennsylvania with his wife and kids, and actor Roman Maldonado, who's been on Blue Bloods and some commercials on TV. They did a film called, it was about the 10 plagues, the 10th. And it won an award for third place in the International Music and Arts Festival in Florida. And they did that film on a low budget and got it done. It was a powerful movie. You can find it on one of the Christian film websites. I can't think of the name of that website now. It'll come to me. Tragedy was the name of Renee
Haley's book.
Haley. Tragedy. I think it's the name of that film company. It's not Angel Studios. I just sent it to a friend of mine, the link to the Giblet. If you look that up, I can share where people can see the 10th. They're working on a new series, and we'll talk about that in a minute with the Cook brothers. Callie Deruk, who is an excellent author and speaker. Callie, we're trying to have her here if we can work it out, and somebody can get on the horn about that.
Okay.
Callie has written an amazing book about what to do in your life and not without regrets, to actually do the thing you've always wanted to do and didn't want to die without having done it. And for her, it was write that book. And she did. And she's had, her testimony is amazing. Wow. She's such a sweetheart. We messed up with the time, and she's on a different time zone. And she interviewed us in the car. And she said, "Oh, I just get out of the shower." It was all.
She thought she's gonna have time to get all
Yeah,
fixed up and
yeah.
makeup, and she ended up with wet hair in the
You know, it
vehicle.
didn't bother her because we could have done it over. We said, Callie's great. She actually sends us interviews through the company that she works for. She's a publicist for biscuitmedia.com. And we've got a number of our, in fact, Christopher Zalewski, the movie guy, documentarian, came through her, and some other interviews that we're going to be doing. Johnny Ray Hawkins. Wow.
Oh, great guy.
Local guy down the road, lives near Factoryville School and Church. Johnny Ray is a nationally syndicated artist, and he just spoke in our church. We've got some of his artwork here. Maybe my wife will, I don't know, you can look online. He does cat calendars, dog calendars, teach you, one a day kind of thing, other artwork. And he did, what do you call it? Caricature of me.
Yeah, he's
I sat there
great.
in the pulpit.
Yeah.
It was great. Craig Smith, who CCM Music got back in the day,
Mhm.
was well listened to, well received. He's a pastor down in Arkansas, does mission work for the needy in that place, Northwest Arkansas. He's got a new devotional book. I hope to connect with him on that. We get the book and gave it to a friend back home.
Redeemed TV.
Redeemed TV. That's where you're going to find the new series. We'll talk about it in a moment, by the Cook brothers. Bob Bennett. Oh my gosh, Bob was great. Bob was great. He does his live thing on Friday sometimes. They're still playing music. He zoomed us from Northern California, I believe it was. Bob Bennett, CCM artist back in the day. Hits like Man of the Tunes. Just drawing a blank now. So many good ones. Clarence Haynes. I found out about Clarence Haynes. I thought he was a pastor. He's a strong believer, a Bible teacher, but he wrote a great article about spiritual strongholds. I found it on some website. It was helpful to me as I preached on strongholds here, soul ties. And so I texted him, and Clarence, I'd love to be on the show. I want to talk about soul ties. I said, that's fine. And he was great.
Mhm.
Some of the ones are surprises because you don't know how it's going to work out, especially if they want to talk about something else. Like, okay, Clarence was not that at all. He was amazing. Great man of God. In fact, we'd love to have him come here and preach for us sometime. It's a good connection when, and we say this about a lot of people that we've had. All right, let's stay in touch. And a lot of them we have.
Yeah.
Some of you remember, and then you can do the next few, the song, The Anchor Holds. Ray Boltz made it popular, but it was actually written by, and then later a little bit co-written. I don't think Ray did a lot with it, Ray Boltz, but Lawrence Tuning.
What a great guy.
What a great guy. He has his own podcast and I think radio show too in South Carolina on a weekly basis, a Saturday radio show. And then he does this, he'll say, I'm dropping this week's podcast. And he does people like we do them all over. It doesn't have to be well known. High school friends. He just did a bunch of high school friends. Time is such an issue, right? I want to get on and listen to his
Sounds
his
like
stuff,
he would be like the guy next door that you can
yes,
hang out with.
yes, go ahead.
Rebecca Harold.
Yes, amazing.
Pianist.
Yep.
Right she lives in San Diego?
She lives in Arkansas. No,
No, the concert was in Arkansas.
Yeah, it's a friend that's in San Diego. I think she's in New York, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
But anyways, one of those sponsored people on Facebook. And once you start doing like what we're doing, you see all kinds of sponsored stuff. And so that's how we get a hold of Rebecca, Mrs. Jersey. And I listened to music first. I'm like, wow, She's
Beautiful.
a concert pianist, traveled all over the world. She actually was an accompanist for Berklee College of Music and for the Boston Opera or Ballet, Boston Ballet. She teamed up with Corey Lene Carruthers, and they did a Christmas concert at this amazing chapel
In Arkansas.
in Arkansas. I always forget the name of the chapel. It's just some old lady sounding name, but the architect that did the chapel,
This
you
huge,
could see
beautiful window
outside,
and-
yeah. But the concert we saw later, but we tried to promote it and featured her music, New Age music, not New Age doctrine, so, but the sound, New Age sound. Wow. And
Beautiful.
through her, we have another content we're working on. We'll maybe talk about that later. Yep. Bill Livesey. Bill is a retired Maine game warden, which tells you a lot. If you've watched was the Maine cabin, Northwoods or something like that.
Northwoods.
Maine and New Hampshire are featured in that. You may know about the wardens that show up, make these drug busts and stuff. So Bill was an undercover agent for the Maine Game Warden Service. He's retired.
Mhm.
He's since moved to Florida. I could see Bill coming up here with his wife and being friends.
Mhm.
He is just a down-to-earth guy. He's got a book out
Lots of fun. too.
about his
So,
life and
yeah.
all the escapades that he's gotten into through
Mhm.
trying to be like one of the poachers back in Maine. And he's got a lot of flack from people. We talked a little bit about that. He's a house parent. His wife now in Florida
Mhm.
for a Christian ministry. But Bill was,
Bill Livesey. So if you
Bill
want to
Livesey.
find his book.
yeah, I can't think of the name of it now, don't have it on me, but we gave that away to an upcoming retired warden who's a good friend of Bill's. Wade Carter is going to be on with us in January. I think it's his nephew that was in the hospital, and we bought the book and sent it to him because he was the first one that commented. But Joe McBride, thank you, Joe, for suggesting Bill to us.
Mhm.
Go ahead. This next one.
All right, Dr. Akins and Fred Hawes
amazing.
came on at
Yep.
the same time and played the piano for us.
Yeah.
Both of them from different places.
Yeah. Fred
So-
from North Carolina.
Mhm. Dr. Akins from Springfield, Missouri.
What's the unique
And-
thing about them? Tell them how that
Okay, well, Dr. Akins is an amazing pianist.
perfect
and
pitch.
He has perfect pitch. He also composes music and is just musically just
Gifted.
amazingly gifted.
Mhm.
Has been a professor. He's retired now, but he's been a professor at Evangel University.
And University of Maine Chives back in the
Mhm.
70s. Yeah.
And Fred Hawes was his student
Yeah, a good friend of ours
and a
in
good
college.
friend of ours in college.
yeah.
And so he was also able to share his, respect.
Improvisational.
Yeah, well, his
And thank
respect
him,
for
yeah.
Dr. Akins and
Yes, that
thank
was
him
sweet.
for his,
Yeah.
work in his life. And
Yeah.
so that was great. They both played and it was
Mhm.
beautiful and they played together,
We gotta
right?
do that
They-
again.
or for each
Separate
other.
parts for each other.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
Pieces that they had written. And we're going to do them again. And hopefully next time, the quality production will be a little bit better. It's a little poor on one of the two of them ends, but not bad. You really want to go back and listen and watch that one.
Yeah.
It's worth your time, really. All of them are.
Yeah.
This next one was,
Michael
yeah,
Card.
we were trying for a while to get him, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Michael Card's music,
So many hits.
Yeah, so many hits, so many songs I loved,
Yeah.
during college days.
Join the
and,
Journey,
Yeah, that's my favorite.
Way of Wisdom.
And just to the honor of really
Yeah.
interviewing him was really cool. And the fact that he was very down to earth too, right?
Super.
So even though he's so, the way he writes his music is very beautiful, like it's unexpected.
Yeah.
Like you don't know, like he words things in a beautiful way,
Yeah.
different than just stating it or whatever.
Yeah.
He's a beautiful writer.
Yes.
And-
27 books.
Oh yeah, books too,
Yeah,
but
too, yeah. But
songwriter
songs
too,
as well,
yeah. And so to interview him was
We were able to
really
give
an honor.
a book of his to a pastor friend of ours, Pastor Mark Bear up at North Athens, who had seen him in Battle Creek a number of years ago. Michael Card came up. Our next one, David Meese. Wow, David
Yeah.
is not technologically with it. And I say that respectfully. He just chooses, he doesn't
Not
have his own cell phone.
Oh,
And so to do the interview with David, we did it by phone. And even though the quality was a little bit poor because it was by phone, it went well. Wow, David didn't miss a beat. He
No.
is an amazing guy. My wife saw him in concert back at Evangel.
mhm.
David is child prodigy on the piano since he's been 10 years old. And COVID hit him hard. He almost died, I think. but he's got a body of work of new material that he's thinking. So I think this interview really, I think it encouraged him to go with that. Now the things are.
And because of he has quite a past when he was in a hard
Yes,
childhood.
so that, and he shared that story.
Yeah, he shared it with us.
Abusive
and-
dad. Yeah.
Yep, so he's also able to be, share that with others and help them out along the way
Yeah.
too, at his concerts or whatever.
And our BFF finally said, I'll be on.
Doss!
He held out for all this time, like, what's up, dude? But Wendell Dennison, Pastor Doss,
Yeah.
in Down East Maine,
You had
in
him
2
on
parts.
twice.
Yeah.
Yep. Mhm.
It's when you do these 2 parts, sometimes the devil just fights. He doesn't want that other part to come out. But we had such a good time. And the miracle of it all is that we did laugh, the 2 of us, and
Like out of
ruin it.
control.
out of control, joking around about the past. We were intentionally careful. We said we had to be, because we start reminiscing, we would have just cracked up laughing. And it wouldn't be good for the audience who does not know our past together, but we're cousins. And
But he has a great testimony.
oh my gosh,
and was
yeah, he
willing to
almost
share
died too,
that.
didn't he?
He almost died.
And a
too.
mutual friend, Rich Brink, came into the picture, went all the way from Maine
Prayed for him.
to Boston, prayed for him. Yeah, that whole story was great. Wow.
Yeah.
The next 2, I'm gonna jump at JT Jester. I had gotten a JT Jester's story from Calais DeRook from Biscuit Media. So I scheduled him, but as I often, once in a while, this happened once or twice. I double booked, not knowing, because I got Nancy Nagel off Fox News, because her book, I want to keep saying Bone Collector, Shell
Shell
Collector,
collector.
was just made into Fox Nation first full-length feature film. And Nancy has written the script and books to many of the Hallmark movies.
Hallmark movie.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
And she is a best-selling author. So I had them on the same day. Oh my gosh.
And
I
they
found
were
this
both
out.
so cool about it.
I know, I found it out last minute, and they were able to, I wasn't able to switch the time. So at the end of Nancy's
He came
interview,
on.
he came on. And she knew it because I was able to text her.
Uh-huh.
And she was so cool. Hey, JT, she says. So I said, JT,
Yeah.
just hold on. Let me close with Nancy. And we had prayer some last comments, and we met next door, because I couldn't do it here because it was finishing recording as Zoom does. And JT was another surprise guest.
So let me
Wow.
quick
Yeah.
flip back to Nancy real
Yeah.
quick.
Mhm.
A lot of Hallmark films. So if you like those, her books, many
Yeah,
of them have
I
been
like
made. And she was able to share with us how it felt the very first time
Yeah.
when her book was made into a Hallmark film. And,
Yeah.
it's not always exactly like the book, and you
Yeah.
have to be okay with that,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
changes that they make, but also the joy of knowing that, she's written a lot of Christmas stuff. She loves Christmas, and
Yes.
God's really used it as a
She was
blessing in her life,
high ranking bank official, making lots of money
and
when she
decided.
decided to become an author.
Mhm.
And it got so busy that she had quit the banking job. And then,
She's
yeah,
written lots of books.
yeah, she
So,
has, yeah.
so she was really fun, upbeat, lighthearted, just really fun, sweet
Yeah.
lady.
Yep.
And
And
now-
Aaron Gutowski is,
Were you gonna jump back to JT?
I
what
just
he-
mentioned, JT, sorry, a lot of physical issues growing up. And his dad had this positive phrase that he would say to his son, JT, that kept him believing that God was going to one day heal him and have him overcome all these challenges, physical and educational challenges as well.
Yep.
And he did, and the things that he does now, unbelievable.
Incredible. like,
Hiking,
sports,
and
extreme sports.
extreme sports,
Yeah.
Ironman kind of things. Then knowing the background he had like he couldn't walk, like
Yeah,
he had these
so many-
intestinal, digestive issues, back issues, and man,
And
and
now the crazy.
I wish I
things he
remember the
does,
phrase that he's
Adventures
Yeah.
and then, yeah,
amazing. Young guys, like probably 30 at the
Mhm.
most.
really, yeah.
And,
really
and
great guy.
quality interview, quality
Mhm.
connection where he was zooming us.
That was cool.
Chaplain Aaron Gitkowski to Calhoun Christian School was on. We had a great interview with her.
Yes.
Carol McLeod, we found out about Carol, who's a Christian author,
Mhm.
mostly nonfiction Bible studies, and is a sought after speaker across the country at women's conferences. We found out about her through Erica Wigenhorn, whose book on the book of Ezekiel
We've been
doing. We're finishing up these next 2 weeks
Mhm.
in our Wednesday studies here at church. So Erica her book was given a what do we call them? People give good words for somebody's
Reviews.
review.
Mhm.
in the forward to her book, Carol McLeod is there. I get a hold of Carol, and so they know each other. Erica's book, she's written several of them, as has Carol, both great authors, and we
Yes.
really enjoyed the interviews with them. Steve Camp has been on twice.
Wow.
We don't have a lot of people been on, and only one on 3 times in all 3 years that we've done this, and that is Rebecca Hodgson, just because we love her.
Yeah.
She's from home. No, Doss twice.
Mhm.
Actually, Dana Coverstone 3 times.
Yep.
But Steve Camp twice, because first brought time
So
interview,
much to share, really.
CCM artists, lots of hits going way back to 80s.
Mhm.
We played some of the Run to the Battle. He covers me and a bunch of other stuff. He very famous for being a no compromise believer
Mhm.
and putting out an article, 197 reasons why contemporary Christian music is going downhill. Was because of commercialization. So in our first interview, we talked about that. And our next interview, which happened 2 weeks later, because the enemy again was trying to fight it.
Yep.
We talked about how his church made it through COVID without shutting down.
Yep.
And he is a powerful
He's a
pastor.
pastor in Florida.
Florida, yes, that's the name of the church. Palm City Cross Church is the name of it. We've done the Lenses, missionaries that we support from the area.
Great family.
Robin and Levi, great people. I've got a picture of them right here.
Do-do-do.
There they are with that new vehicle that needed. They
Papua New Guinea.
Papua New Guinea, PNG. I don't know how we used to say it. It's funny how the natives say it differently.
Yeah.
And anyway, they've got a family of 4 kids, right? And we just love them. We've had them here sharing about their
Great
journey.
people.
They're Bible translators with what used to be it's Ethnos 360. And it used to be another organization by a name that may be more familiar with you folks, not Wycliffe. It's a different Bible translating group, but we'll think of it in a minute. Bruce Carroll, wow, Bruce Carroll, unbelievable. That was a great interview.
We need to reconnect.
We do.
Okay.
We've got the name of his wife on our fridge because she suffers from lupus.
Lupus. So we've been praying.
And we
for
told
her.
him we'd be praying for him. So that was this year. That's just 41 this year.
Did you get the last?
The last one is
Oh, no.
my wife,
Yeah.
and it was great.
Mm.
Yeah, but she wasn't in the top 10. I'm sorry.
Nope.
My personal top 10. So let's go through them. Okay, the first one, these are in any order. We're just going to tell you. Dana Coverstone,
Was one of our top 10.
one of the top 10, most exhortive and prophetically relevant. Because if you know the words God's given him, he prophesied about the shortage in change when COVID hit.
Mhm.
He's
It
prophesied
happens.
a number of things. You need to get on his website. And all this blew up in his face. He had these dreams that God has given him through the years, even ever since he was young. And boy, we knew that the enemy was trying to fight it because the first 2 times we scheduled to have him on, he had a board meeting, I think, at last minute, emergency in his church. Then we lost power because the thunder lightning storm we had here.
Yeah.
Then he had a thunder lightning storm, but it's crazy. 3 times we've had Dana. Dana's great.
And he just would share his dreams with his board. He just has a,
Yeah.
small church
Yep.
church board. And they were like, you've got to put these things
This next
out.
one, we'll just
So-
push back and forth.
So Mark and Rhonda Blessing made our top 10, the missionaries in the
Yeah,
Ukraine.
that was,
And so they have been in the Ukraine for years, way
Mhm.
before the war or anything. And they've just been helping people to reach Poland and other countries safely.
they have a house. Yeah,
They have a house, and so they board people, they give them food and, everything that they might need, and then they try to get them into Poland or other places of safety. So,
good.
Yeah.
Johnny and Rebecca, Johnny Cox, Rebecca Hodgson. Rebecca's Johnny's daughter. She has 2 kids. She's married to a Coast Guard fella. And we've had Rebecca on 3 times, once for her lobster fishing.
she's
I
a
know,
lobster fisherman.
Yeah, and a mother of 2, and a wife, and a beauty pageant winner. And
And
then
very,
alongside
very,
that, yeah,
Very, very active.
involved in the
community.
Grange. Oh my
in the
word, she's a
community.
Granger
Mhm.
and very active. She's actually also on a cancer nonprofit because of her dad having cancer.
Mhm.
And so she is like all this energy. And we knew Johnny had cancer, but we've been praying for him and keeping in touch with the 2 of them because being from back home,
Mhm.
Johnny had a clean bill of health. And we said, we've got to have Johnny on. So Johnny, in his inimitable way, Down East accent and all. He's
Yeah.
just himself. I love the guy to pieces. He came on and told his story and how thankful to God and his family that he was for that clean bill of health.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was the most touching. I think one of the most touching.
For sure.
Yeah.
Sure. And then Edward Grinnan.
Mm,
Mhm.
yeah.
He shared with
Tell the
us.
rest of what I didn't tell.
Yeah.
I remember.
He shared with us about his wife's passing,
Yeah.
and we asked him if he wanted to really share that, and he said absolutely. And he was
Mhm.
able to share that she had committed suicide,
Yeah.
and he was
From
very
difficulty of having lupus too.
yeah, the
really
pain
tough.
that she had lived with for a
Yeah.
long
He didn't want to
time.
hide it.
And he
Yeah.
didn't want to hide it. He wanted to
Yeah.
honor her by sharing, sharing it and
Yeah.
in an honest way.
And he even told how that he had shared that in her obituary with the Wall Street Journal, or no, the New York Post. or
because they
whatever.
said you don't need to share. We
Yeah,
could just say,
'cause she
you know,
was well
died of
known. She was an
sickness or
actress,
whatever.
right?
Yeah,
Actress,
she
yeah,
was
so-
pretty well known in New York
Yes,
City and
New York
whatever.
City.
So he has
Yeah.
been spending a lot of time at his property in the Berkshire Mountains.
Yeah,
and
his summer
healing
home.
with his dog, and
Yeah, he showed a picture of his
Yeah.
dog he's written about, not Gracie,
Yeah.
the other one. Right? He's been had two, I think Gracie died.
Yeah.
But he is, of course, again, the editor of
the second time we've interviewed him. The
Yeah.
first time was on the
his
radio.
book on the radio. And he is actually, you can pray for us if you don't mind. I know this is probably getting a little long, but if you bear with us, I say with a lot of things you watch, like I'll get on something and say, I only got 15 minutes. So I go back to it later. So you can shut us off now, it won't bother us, as long as you promise to watch the rest of it later. And we are going to put it up on YouTube because this is a very special one. But yeah, Ed is actually looking into Guideposts, his crew, the digital crew, and about an idea that we've had about interviewing guests or people they've had in their publications. So you read a
Some of
story
the
like,
authors.
yeah, some of the authors or the people who've written stories in Guideposts.
Yeah.
You see them in Guideposts, they'll be on Ralph's show next month. So that would be so cool.
Yeah.
We're already working on one, an African-American man who I read in a couple issues ago, who is a falconer, and how these birds healed him and brought him back in the Lord from a life of drug addiction.
Yeah.
And he's given me his phone number. So I'm going to call him
Yeah.
next week, and we're going to try to schedule that. It'll be one of the first, and hopefully it'll be an ongoing thing.
That'd be really
Yeah.
awesome. Okay, Renee, I put Renee.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, the Cook brothers and Roman Maldonado.
Oh, yeah. Top 10.
was, yeah, they are just going full force, trusting God to provide all the finances for their movie. They are
And-
doing the new movie on David.
David, Life of David. It's
The
a
Life of
series.
David.
like
Yeah, like a
Chosen.
series.
Yeah.
And they're so excited. They're making all the plans, they're working towards it and just trusting God to finance it because it's a process.
Yeah.
But they're just local people, but they want to use their talents for
Right.
God, and they have amazing talents.
We went to church with them at North Pines. We first came here before we
Kalamazoo.
pastored here. And if we weren't pastoring, we probably would go back there, I think.
Yeah.
But they've stayed good friends. A lot of the church family, Will and Jamie Miller.
Yeah.
But we'll probably have them once or twice more too, especially with this new series they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, they promised to come back on and give us updates. And then when it gets out, we'll give an update of how it's doing.
And
too.
if you
Yeah.
like The Chosen, they're
Yeah, that's
patterning
what-
it similar.
It
to
changed their life. Like
Mhm.
they were in tears when they watched that, and they
Yeah.
talked to each other because Kyla's brother Caleb in Pennsylvania does filmmaking, and they're both very artistic talented.
And good writers,
Yeah.
they're just amazing,
So you,
gifted.
my wife, one of the only two differences, Renee Haley.
Yeah, I put
Uh,
Renee Haley.
yeah,
She's the one
top
that
10.
lost her son to
Yeah.
an accidental shooting, and just the way that she wanted her story to be out there. She wrote a book,
Yeah, very
Tragedy,
humble lady.
just to
Mhm.
minister to others who had gone through something similar.
She's 6'5".
She's
She's very tall, and she didn't play basketball.
Mm.
Maybe she did actually in college. I think I asked her, and volleyball, but really
But
neat.
I have
lady,
her
loves
on-
God.
I have her on Facebook, and she has other,
Yeah.
a couple other kids, and it shows,
Yeah.
she always has them on there and how they're
Yeah.
doing now.
Yeah.
so.
Johnny Ray Hawkins, most incredibly originally gifted person. I mean, you could have said that about a lot of people on this list, but
Mhm.
we just feel so blessed living next to him, and we could see he and his wife and my wife and I getting
Mhm.
together. And we're gonna try to for coffee sometime.
They're just
So
a
that was on my
warm
top
and
10,
wonderful
both of our
man,
top
just
10.
warm and wonderful.
Bob Bennett, definitely on our top 10.
Yeah.
Most poignant. I couldn't find the words, but just the thankfulness of him being on and so polite and thankful. Oh, I can't believe you got me on here. Or something like that. He just
Yeah,
said, how you doing?
Great guy.
And he played a song at the end, the Christmas song.
He wasn't
for us.
afraid to play,
No,
on,
not at all.
not everyone wants to play
No.
on the show, and he was very
Yeah.
happy to do that.
Right.
Michael Card, hello,
Yeah, top 10.
that definitely was top 10. To the fact that he said yes to us was really cool. And he was so down to
Humble.
earth,
Yeah.
humble, but he's such an intelligent and gifted
Yes.
man.
Yes.
And the fact
Spiritually
that he,
deep. Wow.
yes, spiritually, and
But when he
just-
talks, it's not like all, highfalutin intellect. It's
Yeah.
just plain spoken.
Mhm.
In the surprise interview, he knew Lester Flatt and Earl Scruggs. If you don't know Scruggs and Flatt, come on. Beverly Hillbillies music.
Yeah.
Back in the day, country western, when it was old and good. It's still good, but some people don't like.
They sort of
do
mentored
stuff.
him.
Yeah, well, he was good friends
Mm.
with their son,
Oh,
because
there we go.
age-wise,
Yeah.
but the father mentored him. Back in the day, they lived next to each other. Incredible. That was so cool. So, I mean, these connections.
You never know.
It's- never know.
Yeah.
David Mead's top 10 because most watched. I don't know how many dozens, if not hundreds. of
Watched
people
it even
watched.
though there was nothing
Even
to
though,
watch,
and they
right?
knew
It was
we
just
told
by
them
phone.
it was going to be by phone. And thanks to DeCaro, I can't think of her first name. She put me up to this. She is a good friend of David and is like her point man, point woman. For anything,
Yeah.
David Meese wise. She has the David Meese fan club on Facebook. If you like David's music, you gotta get on that Facebook page. And Steve Camp, most connected. We felt so connected. It's
Mhm.
hard to choose that one too, because we felt connected to obviously our best friend Dawes and our Down East friends, but Steve, his wife sent us a gift, sent me a
You.
t-shirt and a hat, Steve Camp music in the mail. It was just so good, and we'd love to have him up here sometime. And Bruce Carroll, most personable. He had a song that I don't know if he wrote for us, but he, especially for us, he chose it out of
Yeah.
all his songs, and he played on his guitar at the end of the interview.
And he and his wife do,
They travel and
they
sing.
travel and pastor at like camping,
Yes,
like RV
RV
parks.
campgrounds.
Yeah, like they are
Excuse me.
chaplains
Yep.
at our, and I'm like, I want to do that.
Yeah,
So, but they were so personable and
Yeah.
so,
he was in his motel room.
yes, he was in a motel room,
Yeah.
but,
We had him on the radio back in the day.
so-
And he's another one we had on the radio.
Yeah, and he's another one that I could just, I think we
Yeah.
could be friends.
And actually,
you know.
he's one that has said he would come up here.
Yeah.
To be with us. I think
They're
there's a
just
few.
like, name the
come.
time, we're like, okay, great.
And we're actually seriously thinking about that. I think a way to do that is connect with other churches, obviously. And also with parachurch ministries like, and I'm going to give a plug for it because it's a worthy plug, Alternatives, which we support personally and as a church. And at one time I was training to be a father council with the Battle Creek Alternatives. This month is the 40th anniversary of Alternatives, Battle Creek Kalamazoo. And there's a special concert to benefit that organization with Stephen Curtis Chapman.
January 20th.
January 20th. We got our tickets today. And we
Woo-hoo.
are reaching out. We're haven't heard back, but they are forwarding our request to be on our show with Stephen Curtis Chapman. Wouldn't that be amazing? So we're looking forward to that. 'Cause
Yeah.
a lot of our CCM artists are back in the day. We have a few that still sing, probably a lot of them still do, but we've had some like from Cutlass and I'm trying to think who else, for King and Country, Mariah Peters.
Yeah.
I think Luke's wife has been on with us. So,
Stephen Hurst Chapman
yeah.
is active still,
Active still,
singing and
yeah.
doing, and his.
So we're
his
working
son
on
is
that.
too, so,
and
Yeah.
this month we have, hopefully we'll have him. We have Joel Harmon, who's got an amazing testimony. He's a former student and client of Patrick Henry Boys and Girls Home, who we worked with years ago. Joel's a great
Great
young man of
kid,
God.
wow, great guy.
Paul Keith Davis on the 12th. Actually, I'm looking at December now. Paul Keith Davis is coming up in February. We had to reschedule. Retired Lieutenant Colonel John Mills, who's written a book about the woke crowd and how, as part of the military, he was pressured to be woke. You know what I mean? And he resisted. He's written a book about it. I can't wait to have him on.
That would be cool.
I can't remember right up here. Joe Kelly is coming up on the 23rd. Wade Carter, retired Maine game warden, another Maine game warden, 16th of January. Coach Joe Kelly won his case at the Supreme Court of the United States because he was unfairly fired from his high school football coaching job.
Praying with his
He was just praying with his team. And then Tim McClendon, who is a musician, pianist, composer, and an interior decorator who's been featured on HGTV.
That'll be fun.
So Tim had to reschedule, but he says, I like what you're doing, Ralph. We went together to college at Berkshire, my first year.
No way.
That's how I know Tim.
I didn't know
Isn't
that.
cool? Well,
Very
some
cool.
things you don't know about me.
Yes.
Anyway, that was long, Mom. This is across. My mother-in-law watching, listening. She's visiting for a couple of days while I'm on break. We're glad to have her here with us. So please check us out. Please subscribe. We don't know how to promote our channel any more than we already have. We offered to hire our daughter even to come and help us do this, but she's so busy.
But like and share us and all
Please,
of that.
please do
that.
subscribe to the channel. My wife has a channel. I have a channel. We both have some subscribers, but it's not near as put out there, promoted as it should be. And again, it's not about us. We don't want you to miss out on these amazing people.
Stories. There's so
And
many awesome people.
I don't
in
think
this
there's one that we haven't prayed with. And not everybody is a Christian. They don't have to be. We don't call it condition, but we feel like our talking to them and sharing sow seeds, and we offer prayer at the end. Most of them have been believers and others believe in God, but they don't know that they're on their way to the kingdom. And
And
so
like every time we interview someone, we get off and we go, wow.
I know, or she's
That
watching
was
in there.
so
Can you believe
cool.
that? That was amazing.
Mhm.
Leon Patillo, number 2, is coming up in February.
I can't
We've had Leon,
wait.
my wife's favorite.
He's my
Leon's
favorite.
got new album coming out with a group of people who learn to cover all his songs and do it right, because obviously he's the guy's written. He did a live Christmas Eve service that was so cool.
So
And
fun.
finally, he was out in California. He's such a fun guy. He was doing a little moonwalk. and
So
He's
much
our age
fun.
or older. He's got his little beanie thing
Yeah,
on.
so cool.
Leon was part of Santana. He was the lead singer for
Mhm.
Santana back in the late 60s. Some of you remember Santana.
He got saved and then
Yeah.
he led
Let
Santana to-
Santana the Lord
Yeah.
on the tennis court. So we want to get back and look at that one. That was it's a well done one. He did a real good job on his end. You never know
So
what's
fun.
gonna
Like
happen.
he just,
He was ready.
oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
and very down to earth. I can't think of who else is coming up in February, but we've got most of February filled and one in March. Bill Young. You want to hear the prophet Bill Young. He blows a shofar and he
Mhm.
travels across the country. Finally, Bill's like, wow, he's thinking, you had a number of people on, I better get on. And no, he probably wasn't thinking. He's a good guy. We had him up preaching for us and singing on his
In Maine.
guitar
Mhm.
in Maine back in the day at a conference that we hosted and organized back at in Machias.
Mhm.
So Bill, it's going to be great. He has a word of the Lord. He just has a way. And what a life of faith. Oh my gosh. So you'll want to tune into that. That's March the 5th. So March is starting to be filled up. February is pretty much full. Amy Swager, who almost died of a heart attack, did die. So I teach with her at Scott. She'll be on with us in February. Just all kinds of guests
Telling her story.
telling her
Mhm.
story. She's a great lady of the Lord and Catholic sister in Christ. I say that proudly. Amen.
If you
Yep.
want to be on.
Yeah, let us know. Let us know.
Everyone has a story.
Yes. So let's pray.
Mhm.
Thank you, God, for this time we've been able to share this end of the year, into the new year episode of Faith, Family, Friends. We pray that even with this show tonight, many people will be brought on board watching these wonderful interviews that we've had through the last 3 years. Thank you for the open door and bless all the people, not just the top 10,
Mhm.
but everyone we've had, and not just this year, but the last 2 years too. Thank you for those who've listened and watched tonight. In Jesus' name, amen. God bless you. Thanks for tuning in to Faith, Family, Friends. Have a great day, everybody. God bless
Good
you
night.
tonight. And we will put all those guests on tomorrow on a list so you can
Check them out.
check them out. Have a great one. God bless.